Okay. Good evening, everyone present here. Okay. I hope you are here for a session of post-gate guidance. Okay. So today, what we'll be seeing about what to do after gate. Now, you have spent a lot of time, okay, right from the previous year in preparing for gate. I know a lot of you might have spent sleepless nights in preparing for gate, and finally, when the exam has come and you have got your results with you, now there comes another dilemma where you need to know what is your next step after gate. Correct. A lot of you might be wondering, now I have a score. Now, is it sufficient? I mean, what is my next step using these scores? So today we'll have a little discussion about this. I'll just give you all my inputs which I have. Before going on with the session, I'll just introduce myself to all of you guys. I'm Praveen Gautam. I'm an alumni of NIT Bhopal. Okay. So I hope every one of you is ready for the sessions to start, and now we'll start upon the session. Okay. And now we have seen that as the gate tradition goes on, even this gate has come up with a very unique set of question paper in the electrical stream, and accordingly the cutoffs are all decided and the marks have been displayed. Accordingly, the ranks have also been given. Okay. So now we'll see one by one what are the different options, what are the different ranks, what do you mean by different scores, what are the different scores you can get for, what are the different options you can go after gate. Is it you want to go to the PSUs, or do you want to pursue for MTech, or you want to pursue for MS? Okay, one by one we'll just see. Okay, we'll just go on with one more slides. And before I go into the slides, I want to say that any question you want to post, you just post in the chat session. Okay, after I go on with the presentation, I'll try to answer as many questions as possible which you have. Okay, so try to post whatever queries you have in the chat section, so we'll discuss that. So maybe your doubt might be there for someone who wants to ask, and he'll get it cleared. Okay, so let us go on with the presentation. Okay, so now all of you have got your gate score. Okay, now what are your options you have? Now right now, after you've got your gate score, now you have a variety of options. Okay, depending on the rank you got, depending on the score you got, the typical options which are there for any power system engineer or any electrical engineer for you, I'll just put up on. You have one option of higher education. Okay, you have one option of research. Research is also higher education, but it is only put it in a different way. I'll just tell you it is because of a different option of higher study for research. We'll discuss that as it comes by. And then the main thing which a lot of people of you will be concentrating on, it is the PSU recruitments. Okay, so these three are the different options which you have before you when you say that post gate. What is the criterion, what is the scenario for all of you guys who are there ready to come into the environment. Okay, so one by one we'll just take it up, and then we'll see what is the different requirements you want for each of these options, how can you go off on with these options, and how is it that you can choose the right thing for you at the right time. Okay, so I'll just help you for that. So we'll go with the higher education part, which is the first part. Okay. Okay. Now, higher education, when I say, now you have these various options. You have an ME course which is possible. You have an option to do an MTech course. You have an option to do an MS, or you have an option to do an integrated course. Okay. As well as you have an option to go for a management course also. Okay. As you know, management is also one of the important things for engineer, and post-graduation management is also one of the options for you with a GATE score. I mean, without a CAT is what we are talking about, totally about GATE. And then we have the third option of higher education, which is foreign education. You have NTU and NUS. Okay, we'll go each by one by one. Okay. So first, let us go. So everyone has this doubt in their mind. Now, which is the best college? Now, if I have all the options available at my disposal. Now, what should be my order of preference? Now, how should I select my colleges? Now, should it be IIT? Should it be the new IIT? Should it be the NITs? So we'll try to clear a little bit of doubts on this particular thing. We'll try to see what are the different options and how do you rate colleges. Now, all this because of the extensive survey which we have done and seeing the trends as now, we have decided the general rankings of colleges which you should opt for. And this is all with respect to electrical background which we are talking about. So I'll just go on with how do you have a general ranking of colleges? How do you go upon that? Okay. And now if you're aware, now we have divided each of the colleges which we have options into variety of categories. Okay, out of that group A, or the elite group you can call, this is the elitist group of our country. And now you can see that these are the different options you have if you have the score above 700. Now GATE score above 700 is really very good score. If you have got that, congratulations to all of you. Now you are in one of the good phases in the whole population of people who have written GATE. Above 700, you can congratulate yourself. That much you deserve. Okay. So first, let us say that if your GATE score is above 700, then all these array of options will be open to you. Now the first thing is IISc Bangalore, as you all know, the premier science institute of our country. And then you have IIT Bombay, you have IIT Delhi, you have IIT Kanpur, IIT Madras, Kharagpur, Roorkee, and IIT BHU. It was IIT BHU, now it has become an IIT. And now you have IIT Guwahati. Okay. So more than 700 GATE score if you have, now you can be hopeful of getting into these colleges. But each of these colleges has criteria defined for it. So based on the previous data, all the history of data which we have, we can try to analyze if you are aiming for the IISc Bangalore, then you have to be outright in the top 50. As far as you're in the top 50, then there is no doubt for you. You can try to opt for IISc Bangalore, because that is one thing which will not have any interview directly based on your GATE score. Whatever you have a rank below 50, you'll be directly given admission into the ME course in IISc Bangalore. So that is for the toppers. If you are in the top 50, congratulations to you. Then you have this option of going for IISc Bangalore ME. Okay. And then comes IIT Bombay. So IIT Bombay is also one more thing where you can apply for MTech, okay, in the form of teaching assistantship. There are two types in IIT Bombay. Okay, for IIT Bombay teaching assistantship, you need a very higher score of 700 plus. Okay, so if you have that score, you can try to apply for IIT Bombay, and you may stand a chance of getting an admission in the MTech course of IIT Bombay. Okay. And then the next one is IIT Delhi. Now IIT Delhi, as far as the trends are concerned, 700 plus score. We want to be a little more definite. You can put it around 765 to 800. Now these are the data which we have tried to get it. Okay, because not all IITs give it directly. Okay, so IIT Delhi, you have 765 to 800 around the score, because it is also, there is a lot of demand for IIT Delhi. So if you want to do an MTech course in IIT Delhi, your score above 700 plus is not sufficient in that. It has to be somewhere around more than 765 to 800. If you have more than 765 to 800, you can have the chance of short chance of getting into IIT Delhi. That is what we can say, because and now with this much competition, you cannot say anything is sure, but you have a very pretty good chance of getting into IIT Delhi for an MTech course if you are scores above 765 to 800. Okay, if more than 800, then it is well enough, because if it is more than that, you have the option of anyway going into the IISc. And then you have IIT Kanpur, which is also around the score which is required for going into IIT Kanpur is also greater. I mean, it will be around 750 of that sort. More than 700 is also possible. Okay, this is all now speculation. Now the statistics might change, but because of the previous statistics, whatever we have, whatever is the trend which has been going on till now, we are just going on with that. Okay, and then IIT Madras, and in my personal opinion, I feel IIT Madras is one of the elite institutions if you consider the electrical domain department. Okay, and I agree that it also depends on which specialization you would like to go in your IIT, in your MTech stream. But IIT Madras is, in the elite college, it's one of the good options you have for MTech in electrical. You can have an MTech in electrical from IIT Madras. For that, you need to have a score of 750 plus. Okay, 700 might not give you a good chance, but if you have a 750 plus GATE score, there might be a very pretty good chance that you might end up in an MTech program in IIT Madras. And next comes IIT Kharagpur, is also, these are the old IITs, so you have that hype always surrounding all these IITs. Okay, and IIT Kharagpur also, around 760 plus score is generally required for you to have a good shot of getting an MTech seat in IIT Kharagpur also. And IIT Roorkee is a little different in judging your GATE performance. Everyone takes GATE scores or either GATE ranks, but IIT Roorkee generally, until now, it considered marks as a criteria. The number of marks you score out of 100, that is what IIT Roorkee generally sees. So don't worry, whatever marks I have mentioned here, 58 plus marks, it will more or less translate around to that same GATE score, but still you need to apply for that particular marks. You have 58 plus marks if you can score in GATE out of 100 in your paper, what you have written, then you have, you can say that you stand a good chance of having a shot at IIT Roorkee also. IIT Roorkee is also a very good option for you guys. And then you have IIT BHU Varanasi, and now though it has become an IIT very recently, now it is a very old college and it is a very reputed college. So IIT Varanasi or IIT BHU, as you can see, it is a relatively newer an IIT, so its cutoff might be a little lesser than in the score, because we have given a 700 plus cutoff expectation for IIT, all the IITs in Group A, but IIT BHU, you can stand a chance of 650, but 700 you have, I think you have a very good chance of getting into IIT BHU also, Varanasi. It is a very good college as far as the history of the college is concerned, though it has become an IIT very recently. And then you have IIT Guwahati. IIT Guwahati is always there, and IIT Guwahati also more than 700 score if you have. So you have a pretty good chance of getting into an MTech program in IIT Guwahati also. So this is the Group A or the elite colleges, the top colleges. If you are in the top percentile, if your gate score is above 700, now this is what will go in your mind. This will be the first option which you have to chart down before you decide on what to apply and what course to apply. This might be example colleges in which you have to put in your first preference. Okay. Now, if you are clear with this, we'll go with the next tier, the Group B. Now, 700 plus is the LIT score, as we have told. Now, we'll go back to the next group, which is the Group B. Now, Group B is placed only because it is lesser than Group A. But as such, all of these colleges which we are talking about are really very good for you for an overall development, right from your MTech as well as your personality. IIT gives you a very good scope for you to develop yourself as a person also. Okay, you have to keep that also in mind when you're going for higher studies. It is not only your MTech degree or your placement which is valued, but the exposure you have for all these infrastructure is one thing which you have to, and that IIT Tech always holds along. Even though the IIT is new or old, that IIT Tech still holds good. Okay, when you come to the Group B, now there are different IITs here. Now here the colleges you have, it's an extended list. I mean, you have a higher list than the Group A, but these are the second tier college, the second preference which you should give. So the first thing is IIT Hyderabad. It is again relatively new, but not one of the very new IITs, but it is still IIT Hyderabad is not one of the old IITs. IIT Hyderabad comes first in your Group B. Now this is also one good option for you. Now all these Group B options, you have your gate score more than 600, you stand really good chance of trying to get an MTech admission into all these different colleges. So your first option might be IIT Hyderabad. Okay, and then you have NIT Warangal. NIT Warangal is really good. NIT Trichy, NIT Surathkal, Calicut, Allahabad, Rourkela, Bhubaneswar, and IIT Bhubaneswar, IIT Gandhinagar, IIT Jodhpur, Indore, Rupar, and Mandi. Mandi is in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, and when I'm telling you about all these colleges, now you just have to make sure that all these NITs which you want to apply for, it is not direct application as you have. They have a centralized counseling. As you know that from 3-4 years before, it has become a centralized counseling for all the central universities as well as a lot of NITs. So you have to apply yourself through the CCMT website or whatever central counseling website has been given for getting a consideration into getting into all these NITs. Okay, so you have to take yourself or register yourself in CCMT so that you stand a chance, because it is a round of counseling which you will have. It's a common counseling for all the NITs, okay, right from the top NITs to all the NITs as well as some different colleges which take gate score also, which are a participant of CCMT. So please make sure that you're not in the purview that you have to apply for all these NITs individually. Now that time is gone. For IITs, they have their own notifications. You can do that, but for NITs, you have to go through CCMT. Okay. Next thing, now these are the different IITs which you can try if you have a score of 600 plus. Okay, now we'll go to the next group. Okay, we would like to first have a glance of what are the different colleges for people who do not or did not know these many options are there. So there were deadlines or something, and there are deadlines. So if you are going to catch up, then please make a note of all this so that you have the option of catching up with some IITs or NITs which you would have missed, okay, in your application. And then when we go for Group C, now when your gate score is above 550, now between the 600 to 550, there are a lot of people as well as a lot of colleges. Now you have to make sure, because the percentile of people falling in this group, right from 550 to around 650, now these are the most number of people which you see. Okay, so you will have to face a lot of competition in this, but you have a pretty good options here also. You have IIIT Bangalore, which is also an option, IIIT Hyderabad, IIIT Allahabad, DTU Delhi is also, Delhi Technical University is also a very good option. Okay, sometimes it is rated in some more than some NITs also, the newer NITs if you say. And you have IIIT Gwalior, you have NSIT Delhi, and you have other IIITs, whatever are there. The IIITs are also formed under the IT Act, so that also is there. And then you have NIT Bhopal, NIT Jaipur, all these NITs which I'm mentioning here. Now these or also to be considered in centralized counseling. When I tell anything which is NIT, no, please make sure that your some triple also come inside the CCMT. So please make sure that you have the idea that what are the colleges participating in CCMT for this year. Okay, because colleges keep on getting added for the centralized counseling of NITs or triple ITs. And then you have ISM Dhanbad. ISM Dhanbad, the School of Mines, as you know, that is a very prestigious institution right from age old. But again, you need to have a bit of discrimination, or you need to know which branch you're applying for, and are you really going in for the college, or are you really going in for the subject. Okay. And then you have Delhi University South Campus also, and you have BITS Pilani also. The private colleges, when you go, you have BITS Pilani and other centralized colleges also. With your GATE score, you can go for Anna University, you can go for PSG Coimbatore. That is also a very good college. Now all these options I'm telling you, if you are not able to secure in the other colleges which I'm telling, then please go for all that. PSG Coimbatore is a pretty good college, as well as you have your BITS Pilani, which is also a very good college. BITS Mesra is also a very good option for you guys for pursuing your higher studies. Okay, now these come under your Group C. Okay, now when your GATE score lies between more than 550 to around 600, so you can try to apply in this colleges. Okay, now I do not say that you do not try, but there is no point in trying for the Group A colleges if you are in the Group C. Okay, Group B, and it's also, the chances are very minimal. Group A is totally ruled out. Group B, okay, you can have a very faint chance of going into Group B with this particular score. I think it is pretty minimal. But if you have this particular score, Group C, there is a pretty good possibility that you might end up in, provided you choose the right branch in the right round. Okay. And other good colleges, now this is a 400 plus score, is a pretty average score you have, and there are a lot of colleges which might try to give you under GATE, because a lot of your local colleges of your local states, they might also consider your GATE scores for the state colleges, because you might be having your own entrance test in your own states for the postgraduate exam. But still, GATE score is still given more preference, because you can still get the stipend if you have GATE score. So you can have that also, and even if you want to try it in your own place, you want to have an MTech which is closer to your native or closer in your state, even there are particular number of seats which are given for the GATE qualified candidates. So you can try for that also, where your GATE score is enough for you to secure an admission, even though you do not write the local entrance test of that particular state. Okay, so NIT Surat, Durgapur, Patna, Nagpur. Now please don't misjudge that NIT Surat, Durgapur, Patna are in the Group D, so they're not good. I'm just giving you a relative grading of what the colleges are. As far as I'm concerned, the colleges are really good when you would like to go for an MTech course. Okay, so these are your different colleges. Okay, JNTU Hyderabad main campus is what I'm talking about. That also considers your GATE score, and as well as you have a lot of, as I said, Anna University is for Tamil Nadu, and JNTU is for Andhra Pradesh students. Okay, so now these are your different options. So I hope that you have got a little idea of what are the different colleges you have for your different GATE scores. Okay, so this is a brief overview of what are the different colleges are there, and now comes the major question. Now I've just given you an idea of what are the different colleges we have. Now let us say what are the different departments which we need to consider. Okay, so what are the different departments which we need to go through, which is a department which you should take. Now that is a very big question in the mind of everyone. Now what should I choose? Now should I give preference to the college, or should I give the preference to my group or my branch? Because until now you are all BE electrical. Okay, but once you go for your specialization in MTech, now that defines your whole career path. Okay, and before going that, I would like to tell you that please make up your mind clear if you want to do MTech, or if you have a really good score where you have an option that you can go to PSU, do you want to really go to the PSU? Now this depends on a lot of factors. Now it is only up to the individual. There is no one who can say a solution that PSU is the best or MTech is the best. I know a lot of my friends who have the score enough for getting into a PSU, but they did not opt for that. Personally, I am also one of that guys who wanted to have a pursuance of higher education. So it depends on personal opinion also. What do you want to do? I mean, is it instant? I mean, it depends on your family conditions also. If you want to have a immediate earning status, if you have that particular thing, or if you are comfortable with government jobs or a central government job, in that way you have to gauge if you have the option. Now if you do not have the option, then you do not have the option, but if you have the option, then we are talking about that. So if you're really passionate about doing something really good into the field of electrical, or if you want to go into the industry somewhere down the line in your career, you want to be the industry or be a part of the industry of what electrical is going on in the world or in India, so now MTech will be a gateway for you. Okay, so that way you have to choose your MTech over your PSU, or if you have the option of choosing that. Now, provided that we have chosen that MTech is what you have to do, now comes the question of which branch should I choose in MTech. Now, there will be a lot of confusion. There will be a lot of people who will be telling you that this is the best branch, this is the best branch. I would like to reiterate again that there is no one better suited to decide this except you. Now, my sincere advice is take the advice of everyone and decide what you want, because ultimately it is your interest which makes the study what you're doing more interesting and more exciting, rather than people dumping on you that this particular group is having more placements or this has more value in the industry. Let me tell you that all of these things which I have written here have very good scope in the industry. They have a very good importance in the industry also. But I have made this, as you say, because of the majority opinion. Whatever list has been prepared is on the majority opinion, and the ratio of the jobs or ratio of the openings or ratio of the amount of things you can do. And now one more thing for you guys, if anyone is planning for a very high study after MTech, you want to pursue a PhD, then this will never hold good for either of you guys, because if it is your passion to do in a particular subject, you're going to pursue a PhD, then straight away take all these preferences, go on to what is that you really want. Okay, that should be your first preference if you're planning to take up your studies more than MTech. Okay, for that will come later. But if you go in a short-term view, first thing I would prefer is power systems and power electronics. Okay, because this is the core of electricity. Okay, when I say core, I mean to say that it is less of interdisciplinary, because now engineering is not that I only know a little bit of one thing and I do not know all of what is there in the other departments. It is not like that. Now it has become a very inclusive type of education of engineering, and that too in a post-graduation level. You cannot expect to stick to a particular thing. You cannot say that I'm electrical, now computer science, I do not have that much interest in that, or mathematics is not my bread or butter. No, that is not the idea which you should have. It is totally inclusive, whatever you choose. But out of all this, we take it for our analysis, or the electrical, the core domain which was there from the birth of electricity is, you can say, power systems and power electronics. Okay, now there will be different variation of all these courses in different things. You will have industrial drives in one college, you will have something offered like integrated power systems, you can have like power and energy systems also there, and when you will have somewhere called renewable energies also. Okay, but when you're going for some courses like green energy or renewable energy, okay, just give that a little bit lesser preference. I agree that this is a pretty good topic which is having a very boom in the research industry right now, that renewables, green. So people would tend to generally go, and as you know that the score required in all your NITs or IITs energy departments is also pretty lesser than what you have. So if you really want to do it in NIT and you really do not care which branch is there, then energy is a very good option for lower scores also. There is a possibility that you can end up see it in energy systems or green energy or that particular branches. But I would say that please keep it your lesser preference if you have an option of going with power systems and power electronics, because these are the core. Power electronics, some say it is the best thing, and second is power systems, and it is vice versa. Now it only depends on your preference, that if you really want to do power systems, and if you feel that I do not really have an idea of power systems or power electronics, I am in a doubt as to which one to actually select. Now, should I go on to select power systems or power electronics? I do not know. Then just do a little bit research. No, just go to Google. You know, Google has everything. Just go, what are the different things you do in power systems? What are the different things you do in power electronics? Now, see that you might have some liking as your BTech subjects would have gone, as your plus 1 and plus 2 would have gone. You would have some liking to some particular concepts. So, if you're comfortable in some concept, then choose that, because you will be a pretty much more comfortable in doing all that. Okay, so I prefer your first option should be power systems or power electronics. When you go for second thing, control and instrumentation, it is nowhere in second, but it depends on your interest. Control and instrumentation is a very vast subject. You have a lot of opportunities, because you can say that this is an interdisciplinary subject, because instrumentation you have, it might be an option for EI guys also, in electronics and instrumentation also. Okay, so control and instrumentation is a really good option for you. Control systems is a really good area of study where you can go, where you can do your MTech, and there are ample opportunities in India and abroad also after you have your MTech, so that is also a very good option. And then power electronics in your machine drives. Now you might be wondering why I have written power electronics 2 times. It is only because that I would wanted to show the variation, because industrial drives are there are different things. The actual course which means industrial drives, it will be more concentrated on electronics applications in industry. So that is what industrial drives is. So power electronics, the coursework in that particular college might be more oriented on the overall structure of power electronics rather than industrial drives, more on emphasis on industry, what are the different drives you use in industry, because power electronics application to industry is also one of the major things which is a driving factor for the whole electrical industry nowadays. So that is the reason I have just put it into two different points. Okay, and then you have high voltage engineering, which is a really good subject. No, you might be wondering that whatever I'm saying it as a good subject. It is good because everything is good. No, we cannot judge subjects based on the titles. It only depends on the personal interest. High voltage engineering. If you would have heard about Tesla, the fabled electrician, or you can say engineer, electrical engineer, you would have known, if you would have known the history of him. He was fascinated by high voltage engineering, but I know that it is not as good as what you see in the films, but there is a very interesting subject having in high voltage. But I prefer that you select high voltage engineering not in every college, because you need to have a very good lab setup as well as a good faculty experience, and IISc is the best, you can say, in high voltage engineering. Followed by, you can say, IIT Madras is also a little bit, it is more or less equal with what IISc offers, but IISc is the best when you consider high voltage engineering. If you have a chance of doing high voltage engineering IISc, I would definitely say that you can go for it. If you have an option of choosing something in IISc, then high voltage engineering would be the best option, because it is one of the best labs you have in our country. Okay, and IIT Madras is also an option. They also have a wonderful lab for high voltage engineering, so that is also an option. So now this is because, this is on your department. Now what we have told is a little bit of totally core. Now we go to the interdisciplinary courses which you might have, because some or all of the colleges give you an option of applying in this also. Now this also come inside your electrical only, because as you know, electrical and electronics. So we have a part of electronics also in our curriculum. So you have all these options open for you also. Communication systems is also possible. ECE guys will also be competing with you for this, EEE also. But the gate score required when you have an interdisciplinary courses, sometimes it is higher, because some IITs, if you are opting for an ECE course or something like communication systems, you need to have a higher score than an ECE guy has. So you need to just take care of that. But this is also one of the options. You have photonics, you have instrumentation technology, okay, and you have a lot of things. I have just given you a glance of what are the different interdisciplinary courses which you can have. Microelectronics, okay, you have nanotechnology. So sometimes nanotechnology is also a very good option. In a lot of NITs you have nanotechnology, as well as some IITs you can say. VLSI design is a very good thing. This is the core of ECE. You need a very good gate score if you are an electrical engineer, EEE, you want to get a VLSI in a very good reputed college, then you need to really have a very good gate score, and that is what is there. Okay, so these are the different interdisciplinary courses which you can have. Okay, so you can plan accordingly to your preference, which is liking for you. Photonics is a little bit of physics into it, so if you were fascinated by physics when you were a child, so this might be your cup of tea, so it might be that way. Okay. And then management courses for people who really want to go into the job industry. Now management courses is one option. Okay, management courses, the best thing which we can suggest is PGDI, Postgraduate Diploma in Industrial Engineering at NITIE Mumbai. Now NITIE Mumbai of late has been grabbing a lot of attention. Okay, now the gate score required is 650 plus for this. And it is not direct admission. You need to go through rounds of GD, group discussions, as well as personal interview. You need to have a good gate score as well as both of that. Sometimes it is good than old IITs, I agree, but this is talking with respect to your packages is what I'm saying. After MTech, it is good in the sense, not in the case of knowledge, because that is a different stream altogether. In IITs, this is a management stream. So when I mean that greater than olden days, I'm only talking about the monetary and the campus placement sort of thing, because it has shown a really good record of campus placements. It is a really good thing. And as you see, average package is around 13 lakhs per annum. So if you're really into that package thing, you have written gate for going and you did not crack PSUs, but you have a little bit less than the topper score, then you can opt for this. This is a very good option for you. Okay, 13 lakhs per annum is very good than a lot of PSUs what offers, but I know it is not a government job, but still this is a very good option for you. Okay. And then you have foreign education. Now this is one thing which some people might have wondering. Now there are two institutes which generally accept your gate score. Now a lot of other institutions, they accept your GRE score and all. But NTU, Nanyang Technical University, as well as your NUS, National University of Singapore. Now both of these are really good foreign institutes if you want to pursue your MS. Now they do not have an MTech as far as I'm concerned. I think they will be having your MS now by research. Research is what they have. So MS by research is around 3 years. Okay. So that particular thing they'll have, and they requirement is you have to be in the top 10 percentile, or you have to have 90 plus percentile. Okay, so that is what they prefer. And you can say, is it good than IITs? Is the standard good than IITs? I would very well say that you have a lot of exposure. When you mean by standard, now because it has an international standard, the campus, everything will be good, but you have to keep in mind also, but it is a little bit costly than what you study in your own country, because the cost of living in Singapore as such is also high, as well as the course might cost you around 3 to 4 lakhs per annum. So if you are okay with that, then NUS is really a very good option for all you guys. So you can go for that also. So that is the thing. Only thing is the cost scenario where here you can do in a subsidized education where you are paid by the government. There you have to, mean scholarships are also there, but it will be on the first come first serve basis. So that might be also an option. It is good technically also, no problem in that, but you have to see, because the cost of living, how can you go? So all that you have to take into mind. So NUS as well as NTU, Nanyang Technical University. So both are two foreign universities which give you a good chance with your GATE score. It's only that you have to be in the top 10 percentile. Now research. Now research is what I was saying. This is what is JRF, Junior Research Fellowship through GATE. You will get a stipend of around 25,000. You can do it in CSR. You can do it in CPRI. Okay, and you can go for DRDO. Okay, Junior Research Fellowship. Now, Junior Research Fellowship, you have to write the national eligibility test also. That is one criteria, as well as your GATE score is also taken for that. If you have a GATE score, valid GATE score sufficient, then you might have the option to join in JRF. After JRF, you can have SRF, also Senior Research Fellowship. Now, this is also an option. Now, this is totally what you say research oriented. Here also there is an integrated course of MTech plus PhD. Okay, if you are really fixed on doing PhD in the long term, then do not waste time. Then immediately go, because you can save a lot of time and your efforts will be concentrated. Now you can reach your goal very fast. Now if PhD is your thing, then do not leave any slack. Do not think that let me do this, let me go into the industry, let me do. I agree that that is always a good thing that you work sometime can, but once you start doing, do it until the end, so that excitement is still there when you start working. So you can have an integrated PhD also. And before this, there is one more option which people who are really interested can consider other than MTechs, is MSs in IITs. You have MS in IITs as well as MS in NITs, which is also available, which is not there in all the other slides which I've shown. I just want to touch upon that. So MS in IITs or NITs is a very good option. Now MS, you have to be careful or understand the thing that it is for 3 years. It is not your basic 2 years course where you have a project. Now more emphasis is on your project. Now it is like a pre-PhD. Now it is like a small step where you get a taste of PhD. So here you have to be very careful in choosing what your exact area of interest is and who you want to work with. Okay, college is important, I agree, but your preference here should be your area of work as well as the professor. Now you have to approach any professor, you have to do some groundwork. When you want to approach for any MS in IIT, you can just apply through their website. You can just apply that, and you can also go and sit for the interview, and they'll give you someone as a project, and you can do that. But the best thing is always to talk to your guide before. If your interests match, please talk to him that I'm interested to work under you. Have a good rapport with some of the professors. They are very good, all of the professors you have in your IITs and NITs. They would be very happy to guide you if you are really interested in the subject, and it will be a very, very good experience for people who really want to have that research in them. So that is not a good option. If someone says that, that is absolutely wrong, because it is not the time which is mattering, the amount of knowledge. A guy coming out of MTech for 2 years, the knowledge he gains is very much different than a guy who has MS and who is coming out from IIT or NIT. Now his level of knowledge is very high. Now it should be followed by a PhD is what I personally feel, but after MS also there are opportunities where you can go on to your industry also. But I would prefer that you directly go for your PhD, or you can go for your industry also, that is it. But if you're really, really passionate about your subject, you want to really learn, see what actual research is like, and you do not want to directly go for PhD or spend that money, but you still want to get a flavor of that, then I would prefer that MS is there. The score required for MS is a little less, but you have to be careful that after you apply, it is not only a score but also an interview, as well as some written test in some colleges, as well as you go for IIT Bombay research assistantship, which is similar to MS, but it will still give you an MTech, but it is for 3 years. There also you are having a little lesser GATE score for cutoff where you can go. A lot of people will be competing. You need to really do well. Now GATE itself will not be sufficient. If you really want to do, suppose you want to do it in power systems, you want to do MS. So you really have to start working on before the particular written test in that particular IIT, so that you are very much ready, because there are a lot of people who I know, they are very passionate, but they did that mistake of not preparing for the interview because they thought they have written GATE and they have relaxed a bit and they have lost a golden opportunity of doing an MS. So please don't do that. If it is your option that it is MS you want to do, then right away don't relax for maybe 2 or 3 days, take some rest and start preparing all for your interview in different IITs and NITs. You can apply. MS is there in a lot of IITs, okay? But please give preference to your professor as well as your area of interest when you go for MS rather than the reputation of the college, because that is very much important, and it is not placement oriented when you go for MS. You have placements, but you do not maximum, you give emphasis to research, okay? So I wanted to touch upon that point before I move on to the next thing. Okay, and you have BARC also. When I was talking about research, now BARC also, it takes GATE score as your cutoff score to call for interviews also. BARC is a very good institution because it is also one of the central government institutions, one of the core institutions in central government, PSU, you can say. And you can see the stipend for OCS is 35,000 for 1 year, and after that you'll be inducted into the group scientist C category, as far as I know. Okay, and then you have DGFS also, both programs. If you would have applied it before, now I think that you should have applied it before. It is not after GATE, but you should have applied it before the GATE also. So people who have done that, BARC is a very good thing, and generally you have a GATE score of 750 plus. Or AR at 1200, now you have a good chance of being called for the interview. Now BARC interviews are really drilling. Okay, I hope you would have already got this information from all your seniors as well as your peers. BARC, it is a really extensive interview, and you should really be technically very strong for you to get through BARC interview. And that even MS interviews also, whenever you have that thing, when you go clear the written test, it is no longer like your GATE where you objectively solve things. You need to have a specific knowledge of what you know. You should know what you are trying to study, whatever you are. And some MS people, it will be better if you form your project idea before you approach your guide. Having written test as well as your interview, and in the interview when you talk to your guide, having a clear-cut idea, not the exact idea, but at least an overall idea on what the project area you want to pursue will give you a really good advantage. Now these are some tips which it would be good, because there are a lot of people who will buy, but not everyone takes care into all of this. So please make sure your area specifically, if not the exact title, but that particular area, that interest should overlap with that professor also. Okay, that is for you guys, and BARC is also one of a very good option for you guys if you would really like to go into the PSU industry. And then PSUs, now this is one of the things which a lot of people are really interested. Now how much is the score which is required for PSUs? Okay, if you are excited, then if you are eligible, then we'll just see what is the different thing. It is good news or bad news, I'm not sure, but more than 500, your chance of getting into a PSU is very minimal. Now I'm talking this with respect to no reservations, I'm talking with general, so I'm not touching upon that concept of reservation, how much is the score. So I'm talking on a general criteria where a 500, less than 500 score will give you a good chance of getting into any PSU, because now there are a lot of PSUs which have come up right from last year. Each year the number of PSUs are increasing, so you have a pretty good chance if you say that your rank is less than 500, because they also call with respect to ranks or scores also. So if your rank is less than 500, then you have a pretty good chance you will end up in any good public sector company. Okay. And now we'll just see some different PSUs, okay, some of the major PSUs. There are a lot of PSUs which are not there mentioned here. One thing, some PSUs take GATE score as well as a personal interview. Okay, I've just given you 3 examples. You can have a lot of things also. The first thing is DFFCIL, Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India Limited. Now they consider your marks. Your marks should be around the range of 67 to 81 on of your GATE paper for you to secure a call to go into the interview, personal interview round for DFFCIL. It is also a very good company. It's a subsidiary of the Ministry of Railways. Okay, and you have ONGC again. As usual, ONGC needs 800 plus GATE score. 800 plus should be your GATE score, and there is no lapse or something lesser than that. You have to have 800 plus GATE score. BARC 700 plus GATE score, only because you have an interview which is extensive. They have made the bar a little bit lower, but here your personal interview will not be of a lot of technical things. Once you clear that, then a little bit of presence of mind and basic knowledge would get you through all the PSUs except your technical PSUs, which is your core electrical PSUs like your BARC. BARC really needs a good depth of knowledge. Even though you have a GATE score, you need to have that for you to secure a good thing. Okay. And then these are the different PSUs which go with GATE score as well as a group discussion as well as personal interview. Now 85% for GATE score, 15% for group discussion, 5% for personal interview, and the percentages keeps on varying for each thing each year. So it keeps on changing, but these require group discussion as well as a personal interview also. IOCL, if you want to secure 200, less than 200, because it takes people from all around, all the branches. So even the vacancies are more, but the number of people it takes is higher because it considers all over the branches, because it is common for everyone. It is not specially for electrical, so you need to have a score of less than 200 to really go into IOCL. Okay, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, it is what, if you're wondering what is IOCL. And BPCL, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, you need to get 55 plus gate marks. That is the trend which has been falling, and now more than 55 marks, I think you have a pretty good chance of getting a call from BPCL. HPCL also 55 plus gate marks. PGCL, Power Grid Corporation of India Limited, 57 plus gate marks. Now here, you'll have some technicalities when you go for PGCL. Now please don't take it very lightly, because all these other things you might have a little less technical and more of your PR skills as well as your rank will get you through. But PGCL also you just need to consider. Don't get relaxed a bit if you get a call from PGCL. If you have a gate score, marks of around 57 plus, you'll get a call, but still you have to have some technical backing when you go for and face the interview. Okay, so. And then you have GAIL, okay, which you need around a gate score of less than 200 for you to go into GAIL. And then NTPC, for them to call, you need to have around 60 plus score. Okay, 60 plus score is generally what the cutoff they have put for NTPC and NHPC also. You can say the system concerns. Okay, that much is there. Okay, so this particular thing will finish my brief overview of what are the options present before you, so that you can go for this thing. Now I would be happy to answer some of your queries for the remainder of this thing. We have some more time, so I'll just answer what your queries you have, so that you can have a better understanding of what you can do. Okay, I have one question. My gate score is 449. What are my chances of getting into NITs? Now someone has asked a question. 449 gate score, you can get into NITs, but you have to wait for the last round, I feel, and 449. The remote chance, you won't be anywhere in the first round, and that too in the lower rung of NITs. You can choose a interdisciplinary course or something like green energy, if you really want to go into NITs, and if that is your option, then you can choose any option like energy management or that particular field, and you can go or expect in a third round, not in first round maybe. But your preference, don't go for your top NITs. Okay, don't go for NIT Surat, Calicut and all. They really have a very good or very high bar for score. So please do not go for that also. Go for the NITs like Patna or Silchar, if that is what you want, or NIT Manipur or Hamirpur or something like that. You might put your option on, because you will have some order of preferences which you need to keep in your counseling. So go for the lower rung NITs. NIT brand will always be there. If you really want to pursue, you can go for the lower rung NITs. 449, you stand a chance in the third tier NITs. That is what I can suggest you. And what will be the cutoff of BITS Pilani? BITS Pilani cutoff, you can say that it will be around from 500 to 600, somewhere around. Sometimes it might be that more than 490. That also there, it depends, but I say more than 500, it might be sufficient for you to have a chance of getting into BITS Pilani according to what has happened until now. So that much we can have a clarity on. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. Okay, and next question, rank 1992, score 644, OBC, best possibilities. Now best possibilities, you have told, if PSU is one of your option, then I'm not sure if you might get a call from any PSU. You will be very lucky if you get a call from any PSU. 2000, you might stand a very good chance of getting into a NIT for a good score. 644 is a pretty good score. So in tier 1 NITs also you can get like your top NITs or your tier 2 NITs like Bhopal, Nagpur, Allahabad. Now these NITs also you have a very good chance if you want power electronics or power systems. You have a really good chance. First round or second round you'll definitely get into it with a score of 644. It is very good, and you have an option of OBC quota also. So if that is there, so you might have a chance of getting into NIT Warangal or Trichy also. You might try your luck there also. That much is there, but still you have competition from the own category also. You have taken some, but you will definitely be comfortably into any NIT of second tier also. Okay, or first tier if you're very lucky, or if you do a little bit waiting work and wait for the spot round, then you might definitely get or land a seat in your top NITs also. So that is a good option for you. IITs. You have a very remote chance of IITs also. Maybe you can get a call. You can try for MS. That is always there. MS is very good. For 644 you can have, but that is only if you're interested in research. Or else then you have to MTech in IITs is bit far-fetched, but go for NITs because you might have a chance of going into new NITs, but I prefer going into the old NITs rather than the new IITs because the infrastructure is already in place and you have all the major people in that field already there in that particular college. So it would be best shot, and don't worry, you will definitely get into some NIT of either first tier or 2 tier. Can you give IITs or NITs interview experience, how to prepare and face the interview? Now, whatever you have asked for IIT, NIT interview experience, it's a very different lecture altogether. I'll just give you just brief hint of how it looks like. NITs do not have an interview. CCMT direct counseling, it will be there, no interview. But IITs, if you go for MS or MTech, the interviews will be really tricky. And MS interviews are really very tricky. You will have a panel of around 6 people who are stalwarts who will be sitting. They'll be keeping on shooting your questions. They'll ask you right from derivations, mathematics. You have to be strong in everything. So it is going to be a really stressed interview if you're going for MS. MTech, they'll definitely test your skills. If you are having a very good rank, then a basic knowledge of electrical will be enough for interview in IITs. But if you are having to go for MS interview in IITs and NITs, then you really need to have a good knowledge. And don't worry, basic knowledge is enough. Do not expect something great to be told. They do not expect that. They only expect you to answer the basic questions. But that is the main place where a lot of us fail. So please make sure that your basics are strong before you go to an interview, and be confident. Don't be intimidated by the panel which you have. They are stalwarts, I agree, but they're very friendly also. They only want you to answer. Their aim is not to intimidate you. So if you wanted that, I hope it's satisfied. I'm sure it will not be the whole answer which you're expecting because we have very short time. You have to take all other questions also. But NITs interviews for MS, you need to be a little more strong on your basics because it will be a really stressed 1 hour or 45 minutes interview for you. What will be the cutoff for MS in IITs? Oh, very good question. MS in IITs, you can say that your 550 score is pretty much enough. 550 scores. Sometimes you can have IIT Madras generally goes for 550 cutoff. That much is enough because they again have their own written test as well as their interview. So your cutoff will be very low for MS. That will be a very good option. So people who thought that they missed on the thing because a lot of reasons. It might not be that you are not good enough, but there might be very lot of reasons that you have missed upon your top rank. So you have very good opportunity for doing an MS because your score is very less, cutoff is very less. You can go for MS, but please make sure that you prepare yourself to the mark. And as I told you, please select your guide before you go for an MS interview and talk to him beforehand so that you have a very good rapport with them in the interview panel. How do we get to know the professor in advance? That is a very good question. You have the college websites, you have the college website IDs, so you can get into contact. They'll be definitely helping you. Or if you don't feel that they might respond to you, then you can go through your teachers also, because whichever college you go, they will definitely have some contacts. But if you generally go by their contacts, you just write a mail to them, they'll be very kind enough to respond to you that I will be interested. Or you can just go, even if you are not able to talk to a professor in advance, just go see his profile, see 3-4 professor profile in a particular college, and see if that particular research area of the professor matches your profile. And then just prepare a particular area in which you want to research, and when you go for the interview, just tell them that I'll be interested in working in this area because this. So you might definitely go and end up with the same professor, even if you are in the worst case not able to talk to the professor. So that is not a very big problem. The IDs are always there on your website of all the colleges. What should be the gate score for MTech plus PhD integrated course? MTech plus PhD integrated course also, the gate score is a little bit lesser than direct MTech, okay? And then they'll also have a very interview process, rigorous interview process also, because PhD, they cannot take you just on your gate score because they need to know your problem solving skills, okay? The gate problem solving skills are not enough apparently for them to judge you, so they will again take an interview for that. So your gate score is a little bit lesser, around less than 700, you can say, not the first tier of 700, it can be around 650 plus. It depends on which college you want to do MTech plus PhD integrated. NITs is a bit less, IITs is a bit more. But please, whenever you are trying to go for PhDs or MS, make sure that you prepare yourself well. This doesn't end here if you want to do MS or PhD. It is still there, that you have to still work hard, and there is a lot of chance for all of you to go into any IIT still. What is the gate score required for CSIR gate fellowship? Now CSIR gate fellowship, if you want to actually go into that, the gate score required for that is also not as the elite level. That is also again in the second tier. You can enroll yourself for CSIR, and that keeps on changing every year and depends on the number of application also. So you can just go, you can just apply. If your score is around 650 plus or 600 plus, you can just apply for a CSIR fellowship. You can just go for a JRF also. Okay, that is a good option for you guys. Can I apply through GATE 2015 for IITs or NITs? Absolutely. Your GATE has 3 years of validity. You can absolutely apply with your GATE 2015 score. If you have written in GATE 2015 and your score 2016 is lesser than that, and that is a better score, then you can happily apply with GATE 2015 score. No problem at all. Validity is for 3 years. You can apply for that for 3 years. You have no problem at all. My rank is 1280. Will I get NIT Trichy or Warangal? And my score is 690. Congratulations, whoever this is. 690 is a really good score. You have a very good chance of getting into NIT. You have a very good chance of getting into the NIT Warangal or Trichy. Please try. Please keep your options open. I hope that if not in the first round, second round, you'll definitely get into Tier 1 NIT is what I feel. 690 is a really good score. Congrats. My gate score is 598, category SC. What are my chances to IIT and NIT? 598 SC, you have a really good chance is what I would say. You have a very, really good chance of getting into the top NIT also and IITs also. You can apply for all and IITs. Try your luck. I'm sure that you might end up in some second group B in IIT or the top NIT also. That is for sure because 598 is also a very good score even without reservation. Congratulations. Very good. So is GATE the only way to enter into PSUs? Unfortunately, that is what is the case. You have to have GATE cleared for entering into PSUs. No other way. Sorry to say that, but that is how it works. That is how the system is. Sir, I have a rank of 257. Can I expect a call from PSUs like NTPC? Absolutely. Congratulations, whoever has got 259. You can definitely expect a call from NTPC in BHL. As far as I know. Okay, 257 rank. Pretty good chance. I would say pretty good chance of getting into NTPC or BHL. Call from NTPC. So what are the chances with a score of 530 general in MTech? Okay, 530 score. You can try for the centralized counseling. You can end up in Tier 2 if you're lucky or Tier 3 NITs. Okay, good option. 530 is also pretty above average, a little above average score I can say. So you can try your luck in your centralized counseling in NITs. You can go for the third tier or second tier NITs where you have NIT Surat or Patna or Silchar or Kurukshetra in that way, so that you can have a good chance of ending and just go through the cutoff because for each branch the cutoff varies. So see the previous year cutoff and just apply accordingly. I'm sure that you might end up in an NIT also if you really want to go to an MTech in NIT. I have a GATE score of 469. So around which time NITs will be conducting their third round counseling? Okay, so that will be displayed on the website, the CCMT website which the NITs have. So they'll be displaying the date of each round because first round they'll have, then they'll have the second round, then third round comes. After that the spot round comes generally. So please get yourself updated through the website. It'll come around. It starts. It has already started also, and you will have it somewhere around April, May, you can say. Okay, so your classes might start from July also. The spot grades also will be coming, so no problem for the timings. Just exact timings, please go through the website. Okay, I'm sorry that I would not be able to tell you the exact timings. Dates of when they'll be there. Okay, but please make sure updated by the CCMT website. You will be knowing. What are some good colleges in Karnataka accepting GATE score and which all offer MTech integrated? In Karnataka, if you want to have good colleges, then I would say you go by your PGCET ranking. That is the best option I say. If you want to take PGCET, if the first ranker in your post-graduation common entrance test, what is the college he'll choose? That might be your first option because the best college in your Karnataka, it might be you can have VTU is one option which I know, and NIE Mysore is also one of the good options in Karnataka. It is pretty good if you have a GATE score. NIE Mysore also will accept. NIE is also a very good college, as well as VTU, the main campus also. That is also a very good alternative for you guys. So that, I hope it will answer your question. So will the industries don't have their own written exams? They used to have their own written exams, but now people have sort of accepted GATE as a trademark because GATE performance will make them see that particular thing is a measure of what your all-round performance is. So unfortunately, you have to have a GATE score for PSUs. My marks in 2016 is 40 and rank is 5264. In 2015 marks are 39 and rank is 2947. Is 2060 easy or why this is so? You cannot say it is 2006 is easy. It is not easy also. It depends on the number of people who write. It might be that the paper is not easy and you would have answered the tough questions and left the easy, whereas people found the other questions easy. So you cannot say the paper is easy. It's only depending on the performance of individuals. Might be you also know that a lot of people keep on adding each year. So you cannot say that 2016 paper is easier than 2015. I don't think personally that 2016 has a lot of difference between 2015 paper. They both were more or less the same level. Okay, so please do not have that. It might be because of the lot of people who have written. So it might happen that way also. So the next question, score or marks required for BHL? I think we have covered that. BHL I didn't put it. Okay, BHL is also similar to your PGCL. Okay, so around 57 to 60 marks you can expect a call from BHL as far as I am concerned. So 800 score means how much rank approximately? Approximately you can say, I mean, score will definitely not give you an identification because it all depends. Because if you see 2013 gate, 14 gate, the scores and ranks do not cooperate. But 800 score is a pretty good score. You might say that you might be in a 3-digit rank is what I feel, 3-digit rank. Is there any chance of getting admission in any of the NITs for the gate score of 469? 469, as I told you previously, someone was also asking on the same lines. You might try for the last tier of NITs. Go try your luck in the NIT CCMT Central Counseling website. Maybe in the last round or in the last tier, you might just scrape that. Okay, if you're lucky enough. With a gate score of 434, what are the chances of getting into NITs? Now, as the score gets lower, your chances get bleaker. You can still try. There's no harm in trying. Don't opt for the higher NITs. Go for the third tier NITs like NIT Patna, Surat and all. Try your luck for the third round. Wait until that. You have nothing to lose. If you have a chance of spot round also, which if it is offered, then wait for that also. You might end up in an NIT if that is what your dream is. Okay, next question. If I do not want to do PhD, then should I go for MTech? Then what are the outcomes of only MTech? What are the outcomes of only MTech? You have an MTech degree, you are a postgraduate. You will be offered a job in the industry. If you're lucky enough in your placements, you'll get it, or there are a lot of options for you to go into the industry. Now, MTech is not only for PhD. Okay, there are a lot of industries which would like to have MTech, and if you have a chance of going into teaching profession also, then MTech is one of the options for you. I'm not saying that MTech only for teaching, but I know a lot of industries. If you are having a good college, then your campus placements will take you into a good core company. MTech is preferred. PhD you can do it down the line. So it is not that only for PhD you need to do MTech. MTech is also required if you want to go into a higher level in the industry. If you want to go for industry specific jobs where you are not grouped with all your BTechs. So your BTech thing will only be like you are one of the group, but if you are MTech you will be a specialized person. I agree, but please keep it in your mind that as your increment in your qualification goes, your job opportunities or your scope reduces, but still whatever you have in the scope are really good. You have to keep that in mind, because if you have just a BTech degree, you can just about go into any software company, but you have an MTech in power electronics, it might not be very important or interesting for you to work in a software company. That is what I'm saying. So the domain might be lesser, but whatever you have in your domain will be really good. Okay, so MTech, PhD is not necessary that you will follow. If you're interested, it will be very good, but you can try your luck with industry also. How is NIT's placement different from IIT's placement? Now, placement, when you talk about for MTechs now, it is like, it depends on your college. It depends on how your college training and placement is going on. IIT's placement is pretty good. NIT placement is a little bit lesser than IIT's, I can say, because as you know, the brand difference between NIT and IIT is always there. They still have placements. Software, I'm not talking about software. When I'm saying placement, I'm talking about core. Core placement is a bit bleak, or you can say that it is not as good as you expect in NITs. I agree, but the top NITs, there's no doubt, like Trichy and Warangal, you have a lot of options. But still, if you go for any other NITs, the options are very less, but still you have options, and it is better than doing it in any other local college. That is what I feel. So do not hesitate, but IITs have far the best placements when MTech is concerned than NITs. For target of highest salary, is MTech required? For target of highest salary, MTech definitely is required. You have an MTech and you get a job, you'll definitely get a higher salary than your BTech. But only if you land a job. Now that is up to you. So you really will get high salary if you have an MTech. That is obvious because your qualification is more, but only if you are employed. So you have to weigh your chances also. If you are going to do an MTech in any other normal college, then I would prefer do not do that. Go for any option you have in BTech or try to write GATE again. If you are doing it in IITs and IITs, you have a chance because you have an exposure. Companies might come. So if companies come, MTech will be offered. Okay, if you go for software, there will not be any difference. If you are an MTech in NIT and you sit to software, the BTech package offered is around the same as MTech package, so that might not give you a thing. But core company is what I'm saying. So the package for your own core company, definitely it will be different for MTech rather than your BTech. What can I get at 550 gate score? So I'm assuming that it is a general score. So 550 score you can try for tier 2 to tier 3 NITs. Okay. You have a chance of ending up in tier 3 NITs, if I'm not wrong. 2, you can just about make it to 2, maybe in your third round. Okay, so make your first preference as your last of your second tier, and then second, third preferences as your third tier NIT's first top one. So you might just get it to, if you're very lucky, maybe a tier 2 NIT. After UG, I have a gap of 2 years, though I have tried of getting jobs and then thought of giving GATE, got a grade of 598. Is my gap a constraint while getting no IIT? NIT will not consider your age gap. Okay. It will not have it. It is basically only your score, only your GATE score, which they'll take in counseling, and they'll just give you offer. Maybe you need to do a little bit explaining when you are going for a placement in NIT. You are into an NIT or IIT, and you would like IIT is very bleak for 598. I'm sorry, but NIT you can try. You have very good chance of getting into tier 2 NIT. Yeah, you can get a tier 2 NIT. But after that, if you go to placement, you need to have a little explaining to do on what you have done in this gap. So that is up to you. But there is no criteria of gap with your NIT. Are there any private jobs in core through or not through GATE? You have a lot of private jobs, but they don't take it through GATE or not GATE. Through GATE, in the sense, through GATE into any IIT, admission in NIT or IIT, from there you have a campus placement is what I was talking about. GATE score, people will not consider. But if you are having an option where you can go through some references, maybe your GATE score helps. But as far as I know, the industry getting into core through off-campus is a little bit tough. Core jobs through off-campus is really a little tough. What can be the cutoff score for Power Grid? I have told you Power Grid score, your marks should be around 57. 57 plus marks can land you a call from Power Grid Corporation of India Limited. So that is one option you have. If you have marks of more than 57, maybe you can have a call, okay, from Power Grid. So thank you all. I hope that I have answered little questions. I'm sorry that I cannot answer all of your questions, but as we know that we have a limited time. So I hope that whatever is your decision, it will be for the best of your future. Whoever has got a very good score or not got a very good score, every one of you have worked hard for whatever you have done. So please don't get disheartened by whatever is your score, or please continue it with whatever is your next thing. Okay, try to make a good choice, PSU or MTech or MS, whatever. Okay, thank you everyone.